What up, Cage Siders? It's your boy Sean coming at you. I almost feel like I need to change the name of this podcast based on what's been going on where I live this week. So I'll start with that, get that out of the way. As many of y'all know, my peoples, um, I live in Baltimore now. I am a Pittsburgh boy who lived in Texas longer than he's lived anywhere else in his life, but I've been in Baltimore for quite a few years now. I met my wife here. This is home, and it's been a fucked up week. So, I will say though, I'm not gonna get into anything really, other than to say thank you for your well wishes. The folks that have reached out on Twitter and on Cage Side to check and see how myself and Eddie Mack, who also lives here, are dealing with things, and also just to say it's not as bad as frickin' CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and all of them have been making it look. Things are weird here in Baltimore. They always have been. If you ever watch The Wire, you know that that's the case. It's a city that's predominantly black, that's got a lot of poverty issues, regardless of race, creed, or color. Latinos, whites who were displaced by, not displaced, but have been unemployed since like steel mills and dock work went away, and so it's a weird place. It's kind of a cauldron, and some stuff did blow up on Monday. It was kind of scary. But even that was not as bad. I mean, what you see over and over and over again is a small part of town. Some other people got opportunistic about some other stuff elsewhere and used it as an excuse to make some money or get some stuff. Anyway, I mean, it's been very peaceful since then, even with the news of yesterday, and that's probably too close to getting into politics stuff. So I'll leave that alone. But I will just say, I had some feelings about corporate media before this event, and they have all been confirmed and strengthened as a result of this. Most of the media is interested in selling you the story as opposed to actually telling you what the story is. So keep that in mind as you try to figure out what's going on in the world. Anyway, so on the subject of selling you television, let's talk about the WWE Network. I haven't been on in a little while. We did an Extreme Rules show with special guest Gino Morasco. So if you didn't check that out, you've been missing the General's voice. He didn't rant too much. It was a little disappointing, I gotta tell you. But if you've been missing that, check that out. Me and Matty Roth and the General talking Extreme Rules. Surprisingly good show, I think. And so that was on the WWE Network, the award-winning WWE Network, as we are now, I think, legally obliged to say. Uh, anyway, so that's doing good. There was a lot of news on that this week. Extreme Rules kicked it off. The investor quarter ended. They released their quarterly reports. 1.3 million subscribers, whatever that means in terms of financials. I did some, I have a little bit of a business background, and I can piece it together a little bit. I know Cannon Knight on the site has a better mind for those things, and he chimed in some one of the threads about it, what that might actually mean. I don't know. It's a sign that the network is probably here to stay. If there was any doubt of that, um, prior to this week, and yeah, they did a big original programming rollout all this week. It was the last week of their latest free month, even though they're gonna do another free month, which gets some people riled up. Let's talk about that. I'm a day one subscriber, as by virtue of this job, I can deduct the WWE Network, but like SB Nation doesn't pay for my subscription, so I'm paying for it. Uh, and I'm not that heated about the fact that they're doing free months. I have not gotten one of those $25 gift cards either. Say that right off the bat. I know some regulars here who have been day one subscribers have gotten some sort of a token from WWE for their patronage, and I have not gotten one of those either. But I still think it's a phenomenal deal. Like I said, I would probably pay for it just for NXT, even if I was just a fan and not a um, journalist, a guy who writes about wrestling on the internet. That's what I am, and I don't know. Yeah, I can't get heated about it. Netflix does it. It's a pretty decent thing. I understand why they don't do the rolling free month because they don't want to give you WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Um, so there's probably ways they could word it a little bit. But again, if you are heated about it, I don't want to piss you off or anything, but I also don't think you're canceling. I mean, I think you're either in or you're out. This might annoy you a little bit that they don't do it, but or that they promote it this way. But it seems to be working for them. I think the primary reason it works for them is because people forget to cancel. So, um, so that's probably not going anywhere. Just like the network's not. Um, Original programming. The notion along those lines, the notion that they might raise price for Mania, SummerSlam, and Rumble. I doubt it. I don't see that happening anytime in the next 5 years. I think that was what Vince was more or less saying. My clickbait headline aside, yeah, I don't see that as being something that they would do. I think that would legitimately piss people off a lot more than the rolling 3-month promotion. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. The original programming, and this is what I really want to talk about. Is what spurred me to record one of these things, a weekly podcast starring me, Sean Reuter, writer of stuff on CageSideSeats.com, who you can reach at S1Root on Twitter. I don't think I said that at the beginning. I'm rusty. Take a week off. I'm rusty. Uh, so the original programming. So the King of the Ring happened. That was all right. We got some wrestling, which is one thing that I and a lot of people on Cage Side ask for more of, is wrestling, because regardless of what Vince wants to say, it is a wrestling company. And it was all right. I mean, it was more wrestling, but that was primarily what it was. It was a last minute decision that they slapped together to make sure they had 5 nights of original or 4 nights of original programming this week, and that's what it delivered. It was the usual sort of mid card random matches with a theme, which is cool, but it's a lot less than that could be. I mean, you really could spin some more feuds other than just Ziggler and Sheamus out of it, and string it out over weeks. I don't know. I don't understand what the aversion to tournaments is. I think New Japan and now Lucha Underground and even TNA at times have really proved that it's a useful storytelling tool. It doesn't have to, I don't know, it makes it feel like a legit sport, which I think is one of the things that Vince kind of wants. I mean, I know he wants to be an entertainment company, but I don't know. I don't know what that is. So they could do that. I mean, it's obvious. It's right there on the table. The blueprint is there with the G1 and the things that New Japan does, the New Japan Cup, and in the trios tournament that Lucha Underground just did. Certainly, you could do it. They chose to kind of do it, which is frustrating. I think that's why some people were like, they gave you more wrestling and you're still complaining. Well, that's why, because they gave me more wrestling, yes, but it wasn't wrestling that I wouldn't have had anyway. I don't think it just had a little story on it. That it's going to make wins over Bad News Barrett mean more. I think that's what they thought, and nobody's still going to think that wins over Bad News Barrett mean anything, because Bad News Barrett never wins except for this. I think he'll cut some cool promos though. He's an entertaining dude. There's a case study to be done on that guy and why, despite all the tools and the talent, he is a mid-card jobber. So, and then the other thing that we got the Jericho podcast that I wrote about, which again, it's fun. It's nice. If nothing else, I like to look at Stephanie McMahon. She's a pretty woman, and I still like Jericho. It's fun. It's just not. It's nothing. I'm not going to subscribe for it. It's not. If I was on the fence, if I needed that $10 a month back, it wouldn't be the reason I kept it. Jerry Springer thing, didn't watch it. Don't care. Bad. Doesn't accomplish anything that they want. Jerry Springer is not going to move the needle for your millennials, your younger demographic that you claim that the network is bringing you, your social media users, all this stuff. I mean, all of their rhetoric around the investor conference call was about younger viewers and the millennials and social media and all that stuff. And Jerry Springer is not that. Get Joel McHale to actually do the soup, but WWE version or something. Find a young comedian that's up. Get Max Landis to do it. I know he's not a comedian. He's a screenwriter and a filmmaker, but I don't know. Get somebody like that. Let Dolph do it. I don't know. Jerry Springer, no. Boo. And the whole concept of it, but I didn't. Well, I shouldn't say that because I didn't watch it. I don't know. I assume what it is. I didn't even see a lot of people review it. What else did we get? We got the Jericho thing. We got the King of the Ring thing. NXT Council on Wednesday night. That's awesome. I guess Renee Young's show came out. I'm not even sure what that is exactly. I didn't watch Corey Graves' show either. Those are nice. I mean, that's like a YouTube clip though, right? They're 10-minute deals. That's not going to change anything. Yeah, I mean, I think like of all the original programming slate, the Seth Green animated thing, the Camp WWE thing, sounds the most interesting, is the is the most likely to be something that I would um, tune in for. Again, I don't think it's something I would subscribe for. But here's the deal. This is my major thesis here. My I don't know. Shut up, Sean. Here's the deal. What they should do is, and this accomplishes a few things. It would make people who are likely or on the fence about signing up for the network more likely to sign up or keep it. It would go a long way towards, I think, um, sort of legitimizing. That's not exactly the word I'm going for, but uh, I've talked about this before on other like a House of Fires. You know, I feel like wrestling is on the verge because of just sort of an upsurge in popularity, the right talents involved, the ease of consuming the product, the way that almost every niche pop culture thing has a diehard fan base now. Wrestling could be cool, or it's like right there. We're really close. And what they should do in order to capitalize on that and to generate, I think, lower cost original programming for the network would be to give us some wrestling shows. Um, Different types of wrestling shows. You've got all this talent. You've got all this time to kill. Give us a half an hour a week women's wrestling show. Film it at the same time you film NXT. That's what I mean when I say it could be cheaper. Is I think again I'm not. I've never been behind the scenes of WWE or any other wrestling promotion, and I have a business degree and I did some sales work, but I'm not like a numbers guy. Um, but I think if you film something on the front end or the back end of a show that you're already doing, like a SmackDown or an NXT, then that would be cheaper than paying Jerry Springer to do a whole new show, even if it's a clip show. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, Maybe the Jerry Springer thing's a bad example, but something else where you would do original programming, another Legends House, this Diva Search show that they're talking about, which it's the kind of thing that, you know, yes, maybe you get a quick buck off of it, but it's the wrong image to be projecting. It's why advertisers don't want to advertise with you, is that they think you're just TNA and violence. Not TNA, the wrestling company that is actually doing pretty good, being a more streamlined version of your product these days. But anyway, I mean, not they're not doing as well in terms of viewers, so that's why you don't care, Mr. WWE people and Miss. But give us that. Give us a. I have long been against a cruiserweight show, but if that's something that's interesting, do it. Do NXT Redemption again. Don't call it that. Call it something else. But I mean, that was a pioneering show in that it sort of on like a guerrilla shoestring budget, it did what Lucha Underground is now doing. It was a self-contained little universe with backstage, where the backstage stuff drove the wrestling stuff, and you know, do that again. Take some guys, make it JBL and Cole, but add some wrestling. I mean, there's some things that you could do that are right there for you that would change the way or help to change the way or reinforce some changes that are already going on in the way people view your pro wrestling and you know and address things like give divas a chance. And I mean, I think the NXT is a good model. I mean, a lot of us subscribe to it because we get NXT. Everything else is a bonus. Create some more shows like that. That also that you can use to market in different ways, to say that you're giving divas a chance, to say that you are trying to deliver a new type of pro wrestling product. Those are the kind of things that could really make a difference, I think, in all kinds of ways, and not cost as much. And I don't understand. And the only reason that I can see that they don't do it is Vince's "I don't want to be a wrestling company" thing, which it seems very limiting to me. I understand especially and when he did it, I think it was important to get away from the image of, you know, grandmothers who attacked, you know, Jerry Lawler or whatever because he was a heel in Memphis and tried to stab Gorgeous George and all that kind of stuff. And that makes sense to me, but I think that battle is kind of won. I mean, we're out there. I mean, kayfabe's dead. Now's the time to try to deliver on some new sorts of products that that accomplish multiple things, like selling the network and changing perceptions and all kinds of stuff, and giving me some entertaining freaking wrestling product that has some meat to it and isn't just guys I've seen before doing cool matches, but ones I'm gonna see again, and then giving somebody a crown at the end of it. So that's my 2 cents on the network. Stay safe, everybody. listen to your neighbors, strive for peace or something. I don't know. I'm not a real hippie guy, but you know, it's better when hugs are better than drugs. I think that's what somebody said, right? Isn't that true? I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe I'll go try both. I'll get high and hug somebody. I am absolutely just rambling now, and I will probably just have to watch Jerry Springer shows on the network, but I'll get NXT, so I will do.